As the week was winding down and the assembly getting nearer and nearer, there's a question to be asked. When are you ranting about the assembly, Kenny? Okay, 2 questions. Of all the anti-bullying videos, why are guilt trips and heroes most commonly used? Oh, fine. 3 questions. Is it finally getting better throughout this week? To answer the first one, it's next week! For frig's sake. Next! The third question, it is finally getting better. This week has been much more hopeful and less bleak than the previous weeks. It doesn't feel like a bunch of boggled down lies and guilt trips, since the posters at least inspire a lot. I'd like to think I'd made a difference, but we all know how the council hierarchy works. Now then, to the real meat of the video, since no one's going to pay attention to credits, we all know what we came here for, so forwards with today's topic. Can anti-bullying supporters be the bullies themselves? Simply put, fuck bar, yes! Complexly put, we're all bullies in our sick and strange ways. No one thinks about it. Due to the weird emotional barriers that most regular people have, I unfortunately have no such sympathies, thanks to my stupid ass-peas. As weird as the theory sounds, being fair, the corporate world, the job world, and other real messes are far out of grasp of most high school minds because we're all focused on proms, girlfriends, grades, and or, well, friggin' girlfriends and boyfriends. How are we all bullies? Humans trample over other humans. It's a simple fact of life most try to ignore by raising the moral podium as high as possible. So high, why the Empire State Building would collapse if the good went any higher. So now we have a societal definition of good and bad. Most of it works fairly well, but there are some things that just get blurred in between. Let me get things straight, though, people. Even though we're all stuck in our high school, egocentric minds, bullying just isn't in school! Fuck bars, teen suicides, pfft. People die every single bloody day. Don't give me the you don't know till you see it happen to you thing, because it already has happened to me. If I have to tell the story about the 110 degrees sun, I'll remember trying to eat alligators again. Now then, in any case, let's think of a very good story that blurs this. Joe was a kid who had his mom and sister killed off by gang members. The school bullies who were affiliated with the gang tortured him every day. He was beat up, miserable, and hollow. Joe was determined to grow in powers and beat his bully, though. He tried the non-violent method, but that accomplished practically fuck bar squat! So then he trained in the gym every day and even went to the dark underworlds to get the powers to give him a weapon. He finally confronted his bully, whipped out his revolvers, and shot every single one of them in the head! Finally getting closure for his callous mistreatment. Except now he looked like a bloody murdering psychopath. Went to juvie and wallowed there. Now then, who was the bad guy here? Who can we celebrate as the hero? Absolute freaking no one, because they were all stupid. To relate this to a real life situation, let's say one kid one day decides to post memes all over the halls for some joy. The student council tears them down. The kid looks like a delinquent while the president is the hero. As this keeps up, though, and as more people see what goes on, the president easily becomes what he was not trying to, a mean-spirited delinquent. Same case with anti-bullying advocates and regular people. It's all fine and dandy to propose peace until some dissident person comes up to challenge the system. Just one person. Some anti-bullies ignore the person, and others decide it's best to just chase him down, verbally assault him, and then crush his freedom of speech on YouTube. Now then, when that sounds like an act of bullying to shut down one's free speech, well, of course, if you're sensible and not stuck up on the high called good morality. For another perspective, the line look no further than guilt trip videos, all meant to induce a scathing amount of sadness, unhappiness, and some other bad emotions. Most usually start off with one victim being bullying, and suddenly they die with the same old message of, this is your fault, blah 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 blah, we could have stood up, blah 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 blah, suicide is back, blah blah blah, and stop it, blah 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 blah. Okay then, take a good second to realize what I just said, other than the blargs, and what it's supposed to induce in the wide audience. You're basically forcing guilt onto one huge mass. This is fine for what, 2? 3 videos, but when you get to 7+, there has to be a line drawn somewhere in the sand, otherwise it may as well be bullying if it's the only thing done. I'm very sure that the soul of the dead would not like this to be used as materials to cause others to feel sad, or at worst a sympathy where the sympathizer actually feels superior, or false piety and pity from an audience. They'd rather see people avoid their grisly fate. Thus, the guilt-tripping method is another way of blurring the line between bully and anti-bully. In fair conclusion, hiding behind a facade does not make one a better person. Character is what a person is in the dark. When a person really is not under the influence of peers and societal norms, well, what the person really is anyways, it's hard to accept hypocrisy because it's hard to accept faults. It's easy to lose track of what one really is by following a cause blindly. But there's nothing wrong with being a hypocrite. A good majority of us are hypocrites in the oddest of ways. That's what makes everyone human. There is strength to be gained from following and accepting the faulty lines that you have to rework them. Running and using justification to avoid acceptance is not really a great idea. To end this with a great quote from a great philosopher: "He who fights monsters must be careful not to become one, and if you gaze long into the abyss, it gazes back at you."